right. Next interviews, back with another one. Today we're here with uh, North Carolina, Charlotte in particular rapper, Money for Water. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just dropped an incredible body of work, Traveling Light, not too long ago. Um, like everyone that I've talked to about it up to this point has been in agreement that it's just one of the best bodies of work that I've heard or that we've heard all year. Like the way that it's put together and you know how well written and how well spoken all the songs are is really inspiring and beautiful. And I think you did a really good job with that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. How are you feeling post album release? Now that it's finally out, I know this has been a labor for a little while now.
The plan was to drop the album and then take a break, but I just want to make more music now. I don't know. Like it took like 2 years to make the last one. It took 2 years to make the first one too. Just about. And I'm not trying to rush anything, but like if the next one could not take 2 years, that would be cool. um, it would be cool to drop something at the end of this year, to be honest. But I'm not trying to rush anything again. But I do have a bunch of beats, so
That's good. I'm curious. I was gonna ask a little bit later in the interview, specifically about the album, but what is your work rate, so to speak, in terms of your writing speed to certain beats? Do you find it challenging because of the way that you rap? You're a very intricate and like very personal rapper, so I wonder if like um, a lot of that is fueled by experience opposed to just having like bars just in the tuck, or is it the opposite where you just have bars just off the head? Like how easy or hard is it for you to write on a consistent basis?
um, it's never hard to write, but it's definitely like not everything is something where I'm like, oh yeah, this is good enough to put out. There's a lot of stuff where I'm just like most of the stuff I write doesn't even get recorded. I'll just write it and be like, yeah, that's not it. But it'll maybe inspire something that does get recorded, so that's cool. But it's different. Like it's songs on this album that I heard the beat and like the whole song was written that night. And then there's other ones where like I had wrote something to a different beat, and then I was like, nah, it doesn't fit on that. And then I tried it on another beat and another beat, and then it just found its way. Like shoot, I think over me, what might have been like I had the hook, and then the first verse for that like was one of the first things that I had, maybe like early 2023 or maybe late 2022. But then I just like put it on a different beat because it felt better, and then like I really fleshed it out. Like that one took a really long time, but then other ones like Pure Hell, I went in the drive and saw Shamar put that beat, and like that was finished that day. Like I don't know what the difference is, but I don't know, some stuff just doesn't take as long as other stuff.
Gotcha. And I do want to get into the album more, specifically about the dynamic between you and Shamar building this project together. But I want to talk a little bit about yourself first. What was This is typical interview question, but what was your muse to start rapping? Like, what inspired you to feel like you had to pick up the pen and speak?
Um, I don't know. The first rapper that really inspired me was probably Kanye. I'm not gonna lie. And then I don't know what made me like want to start rapping myself. Like I guess it was just everybody. Like the whole thing. It was just like you see someone at the court playing basketball. Like eventually you gonna want to play. Like you don't want to watch forever. Like I know everybody's not like musically inclined or whatever, but I feel like everybody, like at least black people, like we all gonna try and rap at some point. Like even if you're gonna like fake it, like oh I wasn't trying, like you was trying a little bit, like you gonna try at some point. So it just happened for me early. Like I was like 7 or 8, and I was like, oh, I want to try this. And then as I got older, I was like, all right, if I keep working, like I can actually be good.
Hmm. At what point did you realize, okay, I am now good, that I'm at the point that I was trying to achieve in terms of like base level quality of rapper? When did you feel like you achieved that?
I didn't think I was really good, like really good, until 2021 when I dropped September 22, like the single. That was the first song where I was like, okay, this is actually good. Like all the other stuff, like in high school or whatever, and all the notepads that I've been through, like it was a long time before I was like, okay, this really, like I really like this. But I'm also really hard on myself, so I don't know when I actually got good, but when I thought I was good was pretty recently.
Hmm. I think there's something to be said about, in terms of the process of like growth artistically, about not feeling pressure to like put out some of your first written, or some of your first beats, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there's like, I think for me, like I started making beats around like 2020, like pretty much when COVID popped off, and I put out my first tape like 6 months into it, and and like, not to say that I regret it, but I do wish that I like refined certain skills in a certain way a little bit more. So I think it's nice that you like had that ability to kind of assess your skill set as a rapper before you started putting your work out to the world.
Mm-hmm. And it was also like not just the skill set. Like I've always been a pretty personal rapper, so like when I was like 15, I just wasn't comfortable with like being so personal and then dropping it publicly. It was kind of like maybe I shouldn't share this quite yet.
So what made you feel that level of comfort to express yourself? Because this is something that I question about like a lot of rappers that are like, super deeply personal. Like, when do you feel like, okay, all these traumas and experiences and feelings that I put into these notepads, at what point do you feel, okay, now I can share this with people? Now I'm at a point where I'm comfortable with myself and these experiences to where I can share it with other people to be interpreted.
I don't even know. Like how I record is like I'll just listen to the take that feels like the most accurate to how I feel. So like I guess when I was recording before, I'd be like, okay, like the delivery was good, like you're on beat, the bars are the bars, the beat is good, but it didn't feel like right. But then again with September 22, like I was just listening to it and I was like, yeah, this is the one I should drop. And I had dropped other songs before that where I like for a minute I was like, okay, this is cool, but it wasn't the same feeling as like, okay, like this one I'm proud of, like I could stand by this.
Hmm. I think that's good. I think that's nice that like you were patient enough with yourself to get to that point instead of, like I said before, like kind of rushing yourself out of that process. Um, and maybe that's how, it led us to this very beautiful project in Traveling Light, which I want to start talking a little bit about now. As a whole, to me, and I want to get your um, thoughts on my own interpretation of the project, but for me, while this album includes super heavy themes of like revolutionary thought and action on songs like One Love, Pure Hell, and things like that, at its core, it feels like an expression of boundless love, whether to those formerly or currently in your life, and kind of like an admission of gratitude to those who inspire you to be your greatest self. Um, how do you feel about that?
Um, yeah, you could take that away. I don't know. Like it's just a diary for me. Like it's just how I was feeling at the time. It's like a from 2022 to 2024. This is the thoughts that were going through my head. Like this is the thoughts that sounded the best on a beat. um, it's definitely a lot about love, loving yourself, loving the people around you. I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's just everything I was feeling. Like I don't think I say anything that's like too like the references might be obscure, but like the emotions are pretty like everybody. We all the same person at the end of the day. Like they're pretty relatable. Just growing up trying to figure out how to love the people around you in a society that doesn't really teach you how to do that correctly. So yeah.
Right, and that's definitely very apparent throughout the album. You use the word diary, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it. Like, it's just an amalgamation of what feels like, just a journey's worth of feelings and emotions and experiences that you're sharing. Um, this is like a multi-layered question. I'll start with this. Knowing that this was originally intended to be mostly, if not fully, Shamar produced album, what tell me about the collaborative process with him firstly, and then also what inspired you to expand the album to other producers.
Well, I'm just pretty picky with beats, so like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I would ever be someone to do like an entire project with one person. Not because like I don't think other people are like good enough or anything. It's just I'm just super picky. Like there's a bunch of beats in my phone that I really like that people have sent me that it's just like I don't have anything for this. Like it's not the beats fault. Like I don't know. Like it's just not a connect there. But Shamar just sent me a bunch of beats and I was like, I like this one and this one and this one and this one, and I was just like, I guess we'll just do a whole tape that way. And then the other producers, like I met you through Shamar, so then that's how you had a beat on the album. And then I met Child Actor through Shamar as well, so that's how he got on the album. And then August Fanon, like that's just a producer that I admire a lot. So he was on the last album of mine too. So I was just like, why not try it again? And then he sent a beat that was really, really good. And I did that. And then June was on the last album as well. So then I was just looking for beats for like a different project or like maybe a single or something. Just like I'm always just looking for beats just to rap. Like I didn't even think it was going to be on this album. And then I wrote the song and I was like, this would be good as the intro. So that's what it was. And then let's see who else. Oh, the E is the GOAT. Yeah, he sent me a bunch of beats too. And then I had been dying to drop that song. And then I finally got a chance to on the album. So like it was gonna be a complete Shamar tape, and then it just found its way to not being that. Like it wasn't like I was like, let me add some other people. It just like everything that I do, it just comes together how it comes together. Like,
And with the process of like the album building being as natural as it is, how do you determine what makes the album, what doesn't make the album? How were there any like songs that you had to like disregard or that just couldn't make it?
Like I said before, like not a lot of stuff gets left on the cutting room floor. Like there might have been like 4 or 5 songs that didn't make it just because I was like, I just don't really like how these sound, or I didn't like how they felt after I recorded them. But like for the most part, like stuff gets recorded because I know it's about to make the album. So like there's more like writtens that didn't make the album as opposed to songs that are finished and like I just have them sitting around.
Gotcha. Understood. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the transition between No One's Trophy, your previous album, to this one. Was there a difference in the approach for this album opposed to No One's Trophy?
There was a little bit more communication with the producers, not a ton, but first off, shout out the producers because I don't change anything in the beat. Like I can tell people the sound that I'm going for, but at the end of the day, like I respect them as artists to make what they have in mind. So like it's not like I'm Kanye telling people like, oh, tweak this, tweak that. Like the beat, how y'all hear it for the most part is how it got sent to me. Like my only contribution as a producer might have been to like speed up a song or like more with my vocals, changing that. Like that's how I would be a producer on the album. But the beats are the beats. But what was the question?
specifically talking about the transition between No One's Trophy to this album, and if you there was a different approach at all.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I did have more of a vision for the sound. So like I said, I didn't change anything in the beats, but like before I would get the beats, it was like this is the sound I'm going for. Not like it doesn't have to be exactly like what I'm saying. Like again, they're the producers, not me. They have more knowledge in that field. So like it defers to them, but like I definitely had I wanted a little bit more digital on this sound. I wanted a little bit more like futuristic, but not quite like wholly electronic. Just something that's more of a subtle like digital sound. And I think we accomplished it pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. Like I couldn't have imagined it turning out any better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's certain songs on this album, like now that you say that, that really stick out in that regard. Like 1987A,
Yeah,
like that's one that definitely like speaks to me in terms of like sounding kind of futuristic, you know.
yeah.
And
That's one of those that I wrote pretty quickly too. Yeah, I wrote that around January of this year. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
yeah, that's definitely one of the highlights on the album. Another one of the highlights that I want to talk about, probably my favorite song of yours on the album in general, is Surveillance. Um, I want to just talk a little bit about that song. Obviously, the song title is telling, as it seems to center around, like, you know, the hyper surveillance state that is America, and maybe some of the paranoia that comes with being an enemy of the state, so to speak. What was the spark for the writing process for that song in particular, and what did you want to get across?
I don't know if there's anything that I aim to get across, but I know that like that one and Easy Money were two of the songs on the album where I was very mad. And like when I listen to them, I can hear how mad I was, even if like I don't think I'm like I don't yell on my songs or I don't like I don't know, I'm not like performative with it, but like every time I hear it, I'm like, damn, you was pissed off. But Surveillance in particular, now that's about a specific situation that I can't really talk about, but like I don't know, people just be thinking I'm someone to try, and I'm not. But yeah, the surveillance state, like we kind of do it to ourselves. Like they give us the tools, like the phones and whatnot, to tell on ourselves. So like, I mean, there's cameras everywhere too, but like they'll give you the tools to destroy yourself, and they'll give you the tools to tell on yourself, and we just got to be really careful about that. But that song is more of a not a freestyle. Like I don't really freestyle. It wasn't like off the dome or anything, but that was more of just like that was one of the ones where it was really just a diary entry. Like I'm pissed off today. Like everything in that song is just an observation. And I don't know, it's a lot more ego on that one than like some of the other songs. Like I was being very human on that one, in a way that like not all the bars are very are stuff you should live by, but like truthful nonetheless. Like that's how I felt in the moment.
Mm-hmm. It was more of a stream of consciousness type of production, and that comes across. Like I do think, now that you're saying that you were upset on those two songs in particular, like in my head, it completely made sense. Specifically with Easy Money, because you have that line where you're like, all that dumbass shit y'all say, y'all really believe it. And I'm like, damn, like he was really like, he's really fed up with y'all niggas.
Yeah, like it's there's nothing deeper than that. Like that's exactly what it is. Like, bro, these people be saying stupid ass shit, and like they really believe it. Like that shit is crazy. That's just what it is, and it applies to so much.
Absolutely, 100%. So I do think that you saying that, it definitely makes sense, especially on Surveillance. Like Surveillance definitely like you seem perturbed, you seemed annoyed, you seem bothered on that song. So I you know, if you can't talk about it, that's okay. But I do want to let you know that it's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album. I think it's like very beautifully written. That beat is really beautiful. I think the choice, with the theme of the song and putting the Lil Wayne thing on the end there, the interview or the interrogation rather, like that. I thought that was really dope how you did that. Another song I wanted to talk about is "A Canvas for Us All," and I'm specifically curious about the collaboration with child actor. I know you said that you met him through Shamar, but what was the process for building a song together and then deciding that this was necessary for the album?
He just sent me a bunch of beats, and then I really liked that one, and then I wrote the hook, and then the verse, and the whole time I was thinking like maybe I'll write another verse or maybe I'll add more to it, but then I recorded like I basically recorded the song thinking that I'm gonna extend the beat and say something else, but then as I kept listening to it, I was just like, nah, this is it. Like this is what it is. Like I don't go into songs like, oh, I'm gonna write this amount, like 16 bars or 32 bars or whatever, or like, oh, the beat is this long, so I gotta rap for this long. Like I just heard the beat, and then like the process is people will send me a bunch of beats and I just go about my day listening to them, and then I'll just write down like a line here or a line there, or like maybe it'll come 6 lines at a time, 12 lines at a time, who knows. But it's there's not much thought into like what the song is about or where I want it to go until I have probably like half of it done already. So like it's just a stream of consciousness, and then halfway through I'll be like, oh, this is where I'm going with this song. Like I'll let the words tell me what I'm trying to talk about first before I like go, oh, I'm gonna write a song about this. So yeah. And then that's the same thing with the album. Like I didn't go into the album like, oh, I'm gonna write an album about this theme or this, or it's gonna be this type of story. Like I had a couple songs, and then I was like, oh, this is what you're talking about. Like it's like therapy. Like sometimes you just gotta say it out loud to be like, oh, this is the problem. Like, and I knew it was the problem, but sometimes you just gotta say it out loud to be like, okay, like it's in my face now.
Hmm. I think that's interesting. So you say that the process, or rather the album itself, came after some of the songs were already built. Did you have the title already, or was that something that came in the latter half of the project as well?
Um, I'm not really sure. I know the title started out as there's this Brazilian singer named Astrid Gilberto, and she has a song called Traveling Light that I just really liked. And I just thought it sounded cool, like Traveling Light. And then as the album came about, I didn't know what to call it. And so that was just kind of like a placeholder. And then as I started writing it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what this song is about. This is what this song is about. And what connects them is like this theme of like, I'm moving through life and I'm trying to be guarded because there's a million reasons to guard yourself in this world. But at the same time, I don't want to shield myself from living a very real life. So it's like that balance between like trying to survive and then also not being scared out of living for real. Like you can't be afraid to love, you can't be afraid to not hate, but like to be angry sometimes. Like you just have to find a middle balance where you're just really living. And so that's what part of the album is about. And then Traveling Light also kind of means like just playing with light. Like can't remember which song I said it on. I think it was Cordea Park, where I'm talking about how like, all right, so there's this park in my city called Cordea Park. The song is called Walk with a Friend now, but like there's this park in my city called Cordea Park, and like you can see Charlotte's not a huge city, but like we got a solid little skyline. Like you can see it, and like it kind of looks cute. And but like the whole thing with skylines is like people will look at it and be like, oh, this is my city, but that's not what makes up your city. Like your city is the people that's in it. So like you can like, especially for me, where I'm not from like the middle of Charlotte. I'm from like the outskirts, north side. So like the city, like as a kid, it was like going into something bigger. Like the dream was really being sold. Like, oh, this is success. Like big buildings, bright lights. Like that's success. Like for a lot of people. And so like another part of traveling light is like just recognizing that like all the glitters isn't gold, and like, you know, you can have love for these institutions or whatever you see as success, but at the end of the day, these people are what matters the most. And you know, that's a whole different thing, loving people versus loving like material.
100%. And I think if there was any, way I could sum up not even just this album but your music in general, like that would be it. It's just it is always a show of constant love to just humanity, not even just like people as in like people that are personal to you, but just people as like literal humans, as creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really beautiful. I think one of the things that really hammers that home, that really ties back to that theme in terms of your music, you have this motif that you say pretty frequently, where it's fatigue in our faces, the uniform. You said this, plenty of times on this album, previous works like Trophy. To me, I kind of interpret it as like, the hardships that come with living under such a pervasive and demoralizing system. The thing that links us all as the victims of, capitalism is the lived experience of dissatisfaction or fatigue, as you put it. What what is the personal significance to that line to you to make it something that you say so frequently in your bars?
That goes back to September 22. Like, I dropped that song, and that song is about like wanting to love my friends and wanting to protect them from things that I just can't protect them from. Like, it seems like we all going through similar situations in life, just growing up. But like, it's only so much you can do for other people. But like, you trying to save people from stuff that you just can't save them from, like depression and whatnot. So it's like, it's something that weighs on me a lot, because it's like we're all going through the same thing, and like I can relate, but like I feel sometimes inadequate, because it's like the homie's telling me exactly what he's going through, and I'm just sitting there agreeing like I'm going through the same thing, but we don't have answers for each other. And it's like sometimes you just wish you had the answers. And I'm still looking for answers, or at least solutions to make it easier, relief. But like, yeah, the shared experiences, positive and negative, like it's what bonds us together. I also said on the album, ego's when you can't see yourself in the world around you. And that's exactly what it is. Like, we can't think that we're so different from each other. We're all going through similar situations. And it's just all about learning how to be there for one another in real ways, instead of just being like, black man, I see you. Like, you're heard, you're seen. Like, okay. Like, and that's cool to hear and see people, but it's like, we got to try and do as much as we can, and that's got to be more than that.
Exactly. It's the then what after that. It's like the acknowledgement, and then there's like there has to be action that comes after that to make the acknowledgement even worth anyone's time.
Like, we passed the part where people feel like they're depressed and they're like unique in that depression. Like, I don't think anybody, like, you, if you think that that's the depression talking, like, oh, you're alone, like, you're not alone. And in our best moments, we can recognize that. But it's like, not being alone doesn't make it better sometimes. It's like, okay, so it's not just me fucked up, we all fucked up. But still, what we gonna do about it? Like, yeah.
There's just like there's a level of, I don't want to say complacency, because I feel like that places onus on the victims, but like more so apathy, maybe. Like, they just feel like the weight of everything that's happening. It's just like, what can be done with only these two hands? And it's like, it's not only these two hands, it's a million hands, because everybody's hurting, and, trying to get better as best as they can. um, and I think that's, tying it all back together to you. Like, I think that's something that's like very, very prevalent in your music, and I think you do a really good job of, hammering that thought home for people to understand. Something, going back to the album itself and like the creative process of it, something I was curious about, because the album version that I had been hearing for maybe the last few months before you started doing the rollout of the album was different than what the actual album ended up being. Um, and for a couple months, I'd say it was the unfinished version was public for people to see. What
Yeah.
was the catalyst for that decision making and letting people, kind of peek behind the curtain as you're still producing the album?
I don't like holding on to music. Like, if it's finished, if it's not finished, then we're gonna finish it. But like, if it's something where I'm like, this is pretty much done, I want people to hear it. So I had it on SoundCloud on private, and I was just sending it to people that influenced me, or like just people that I was like, yeah, you should probably hear this. And then the numbers got like, I'm not big or anything, but like the numbers for the private link were more than stuff like everything that was public on my on my SoundCloud. So I was like, well, let me just make it public then. Like, why not? And then yeah, it's just all about getting the music to the people for me. Like that's what I do this for. Like, I mean, I write the music for me and I make it for me, but at the end of the day, like, I want other people to hear it. Like, I'm not I'm not so all about me that like I don't like other people's opinions. I like to hear what people think about it. And then I just thought that would be a cool rollout too, since like I don't have the funds to do like crazy promo or anything. It's like you can see this album get built damn near song by song. Like, and that's what I did. Like, I think the first one to come out was Surveillance in like February of 2023. And then like 2 days later, I put out Beacon. And then what else? Atlas and Admiration. And those are still some of my favorite songs on the album. I mean, every song is my favorite song on the album, but like those are some really good ones. But then I was just like, why not just keep uploading the album track by track, just so people can see, like, if people were paying attention, like, you can see how I kind of shaped it. And I just thought that would be cool.
Yeah, and I think, I think it works in a way where it's like, for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but Beacon, Surveillance, all of those songs were in rotation up until the point the album dropped. Like, that whole year and a half stint, like, I was listening to those very consistently. Like, those are, very, very special songs in my opinion. So I do think that was really unique how you rolled that out. Another part of the rollout that I was curious about was the music video for Over Me.
Yeah.
Tell me how that video came about, why you felt that track in particular needed to have a video to it. And then tell me about, the locations that you chose for the video and your just overall artistic vision for it.
Well, first off, shout out to Cameron of Celeste Productions. She's the one who shot the video and edited it. And but I met her through E is the GOAT, who produced Walk with a Friend. So shout out to him too. But she just she did mostly photography, and she was wanting to get into videos. And so E put me into contact with her. And then I was like, all right, well, the only song that I had like an idea of a vision for was Over Me, because I mentioned there's a lot of North Carolina references in that song, but specifically Hammocks Beach, which was the first, like the only beach that Black people could go to during segregation. So like the whole thing about that is my grandpa, he's from North Carolina, a lot of my family is, and so he doesn't even like beaches anymore because that was the only beach he could go to growing up. And so as beautiful as the beach is, if all the Black people in the entire state and surrounding states in North Carolina, if they can only go to this specific sector of land, like, they're cramped. So he doesn't even like the beach anymore because he's in like a pen at the beach. Like, there's fences and whatnot, and then he's looking to his left and his right, and there's like all this empty land where people could be, but because of segregation, they're not allowed to be there. So like his whole idea of like relaxation and like leisure at the beach. Like think about how fun the damn beach is. Like they'll take everything from us. Like that shit is ridiculous. But then how that changes, like shit, that's the Atlantic Ocean. That's the ocean we came over on. And like we can't even, like, unless you're in this specific pot of land, you can't even look at the water. You can't even like look out to sea. Like you can't even dream. Like, and so that's a part of what the song is about. And so since I mentioned that, I was like, we got to go to the beach to film this. And they wanted to go to a couple other places, and I was just like, no, like we could do a different song if y'all want to do a different song, but like if we're gonna do Over Me, like we have to go to that beach. Like that's critical. And yeah, I'm really happy with how that video turned out. It was some like publications that like used to be like, oh, we like your music, but you don't have a video, so we can't post you. So I was like, well, damn, I guess I got to get a video made. Like, I thought we was rappers, but I guess we actors.
Man, it is a shame that it like that it has to come with all the bells and whistles to even be acknowledged. You know what I mean? And it's like, especially for someone that's as talented as you are, it's like, bro, put this man on your little social media site. Like he's a star, bro.
Like, but that's part of no one's trophy. Like it doesn't even matter. Like we make the music for the music. We make the music so people can listen to it and relate and be like I feel what you're saying. Like that made me emotional. That got me through the day. That whatever it is for them. Like it's not about being on these publications, little lists or whatever. Like it's hard to stay with that mind state when you see like, you know, it's a new list every day and it's like, damn, I feel like I'm good enough to be there. Like but whatever, you know, you gotta just remember what we doing this for.
100%. And that comes across as well in your music. The fact, like, you know, your intent is very clear. Like you very much wear your heart on your sleeve in your raps. Like there's no facade. You know what I mean? Like it's as real and as human as it can get. I feel like I'd be remiss to not talk about, you know, our song on the album.
People love that damn song, bro. I do too. Yeah. The day the remix that hasn't dropped yet, that, you know, we'll drop at a later date hopefully. But the day that I did that, I wasn't even planning on doing a remix. I was just adding that second verse because I was like I have a little bit more to say, but not too much. So I added that second verse, and as soon as the beat came on, everyone in the studio was like, "What is this? Like, where'd you get this from?" Like, I don't know. It felt like I was like the kid at school with like a new toy or something, like, or some new shoes. Like niggas was like, "What is this?" And I was just like, "Hey, like I'm very like relaxed about the music thing." So I was like, "Hey, if y'all like the beat, the booth right there, like go ahead, say something on it. Like I don't care." But yeah, that beat is crazy. That song is crazy too, but that beat is, you did your thing on that one.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel good to hear, you know, people have such an intense reaction to the beat, because I really do love that beat. And, you know, that's one of the few beats that like kind of have like a little bit of a backstory. I won't get too much into it now, but, you know, I do really appreciate that beat came together in the way that song was put together. I appreciate that you did confirm that the remix will be available at some point.
At some point.
Okay, cool. Because I forgive me for not remembering the rapper's names off the top of my head, but both of them went crazy.
Yeah, Capone and E is the GOAT. Yeah. And then one of my homies is on that one too, but I don't know. He's shy. I don't know if he gonna make it. It's completely up to him. But yeah.
Got you. Yeah, no, I really do like their verses on that song. So I'm glad that the remix is gonna be put out. What was was it an intentional decision to make that song the closer?
Yeah, because I don't know, like I guess my people say my songs are sad. I guess some of them can be not something that, I don't know, it picks me up, but like I can understand why people would be like, yeah, this is a sad song, like sure, whatever. But Mood Board was one where it's like, we gonna end the album with this, because I don't want people to leave on a note where they just like, damn, I just listened to 45 minutes of a nigga being like, I'm fucked up. Like, like where do we go with this now? Like I just wanted to end it with something that people could be like, okay, this is inspirational a little bit.
For sure. And I can definitely see that from a production standpoint. I can definitely see that. I think like I kind of have like a personal gripe with people who kind of just label any music that is like putting the realness of of like just life in your face, and it's like, oh, that's sad. It's like, well, life,
Yeah,
shit is sad out here, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell
exactly.
you. Like, shit is real sad out here. Like,
Exactly.
it's a reflection of what's going on. But I feel like with the album, like it's not a doom and gloom album in my opinion. I feel like it's a lot of like there's so many bars that are just very uplifting to me. Uh, Playing with suicidal ideation. Don't think I don't know what I'm saying. I don't want to live in this world, so we got to change it. Like that's fucking
Exactly.
beautiful, bro. Why would we? I don't know. I just always have.
It's the song, but when people hear it, they're like, "Oh, this is a sad song." And it's like, yeah, I guess. Like, it's sad that I feel that way, but like, it's choosing to see it as like, we got to do something about it. Like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I believe depression exists. Like, people having just mentally something's not connecting. But I feel like most people's depression just comes from the society that we live in. Like, capitalism is trying to squeeze everything out of the land and us as human beings. Like, it is trying to squeeze everything it can out of us. And so, of course, people are depressed. So it's like, even at my worst, I just try to remember, like, I don't want to live in this world, but that doesn't mean I don't want to be alive. It means I don't want to live in this world. So what are we gonna do about it? And we can't do it on our own, but if we come together, we organize, and we can do something about it. You know?
100%. I think it's just like the presentation of that we can do something. Not even that we should do something, because it's like we should, change the world, blah blah blah.
We have to, and we can.
We have to, and we absolutely are capable of doing so. And I think that second half is like the most important thing right now. I think it's just a lack of belief in like being able to change things outside of electoral politics and whatnot. Um, yeah, so I definitely understand why Mood Board ended up being the last for the album. My last question specifically about the project is just like the DJ theme that kind of permeates throughout, like on Moments Without Proper Names, and different tracks where there's like little tags. What was the reasoning behind that?
That's just nostalgia. The radio station in Charlotte that is like responsible for shaping a lot of my music taste, Power 98, like that was one of the hip hop stations. I mean, they still exist, but like we don't listen to radio no more. But shout out them. But I just love that tag. Like, it's always something I wanted to put on my songs, and so I just started doing it. And then for Moments Without Proper Names, like that's the fast version. I think I'm gonna drop the regular version at some point, but I just like the fast version better. Like, I listen to a lot of fast music. Like, I really love Florida for just saying, hey, this song is good, but if we speed it up, it's gonna be a lot better. And so the plan wasn't to that, like that wasn't in the cards at all. And then I was listening to it in the studio after I recorded it, and I was like, we should speed this up. So we tried it, and then I was like, okay, this is cool, but like if I'm gonna do this, why not just go to the DJs from Florida that actually do this, like, and have them do it, as opposed to just speeding it up and having like a TikTok sped up version. Like, it's a difference between a sped up version and a fast version, in the same way that it's a difference between like a slowed and reverb versus chopped and screwed. Like, I'm inspired by these people from Florida and what they do. Let me pay homage and go to them and put a light on them, whatever light I have. But yeah,
I think that's beautiful, and I think that's something like I I am a little bit, in some ways, a hip hop traditionalist in some respects, and I feel like there's something to be said about like tradition and just paying homage to those that came before you, um, and inspired you to get to where you are. Like I feel like there's too much of this like old head versus new school, like
Yeah,
you know, not even beef, but like this dynamic that's just like constantly butting heads, and it's like, yo, the reality is they both sides need each other in some way or another. Like, you know what I
exactly.
mean? So I think that's really cool that you kind of reached out to one of the OGs in a way to put out something new and beautiful in its own right, in your own way as well.
Yeah, shout out DJ Frisco. But yeah, like I guess there's like a radio mixtape theme, but it's really just I just like how the drops sound. So like it wasn't meant to be like a like I guess you could cuz like I also have the future like intro on 1987A, and then I have the Wayne interview, so like it kind of just I understand why people would be like, "Oh, there's like a radio or a mixtape theme going on," but it really was just I like what Wayne said in this interview, so I put it on the song because I thought it had something to do with what I was saying. And then I did it on another song, and then I just like the drops, how they sound here, so I put them there. Like I wasn't going into it like, oh, it's gonna be like a DJ drama type thing. But that's just how it came together.
Mhm. I think if you did something, this is just the fan in me talking. I think if you did something that was like a concerted like homage in that kind of DJ drama type of way, I think you and the way that you rap and your style and your selection of beats would really lend itself to that type of idea. I think I just think that'd be kind of cool.
No, that's definitely. I'm thinking. I've thought about doing that before, like a Lil Wayne type mixtape. Cause like I mean he's not on the album for no reason. Like that's one of the biggest inspirations for me personally. Like I said earlier with Kanye, like Kanye and Lil Wayne were people that when I was growing up, they made rap cool. Like not even like obviously the whole thing of being a rapper, like oh niggas got money, we dressing like flexing and whatnot. But like the actual like Kanye was fighting to rap, like just to rap, not everything that comes with it. He wanted to rap. Like Wayne, like as someone from the South too, like he wanted to be seen as I'm the best rapper alive. Like he cared about that. And I just love that people like it's this thing that every rapper does nowadays where they like, I'm not a rapper. Like, oh, I'm just a hustler, I'm not a rapper, or I'm just a this, I'm not a rapper. Like they scared to admit that they trying. Like I wanted to, and a lot of them hard. So like, it is what it is. Whatever you got to tell yourself. But for me personally, like I'm a rapper. Like I do this. Like I really rap. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of what we've created, what's been passed down to me, and what hopefully I could pass down to the people that come after me. Like I love this shit. So
Yeah, I think that's something that like that gets a little lost. I think some like as you said, like sometimes, or not even sometimes. I think as of recent, rapping has become more of a hustle than like a passion project for a lot of people. It's just like
and it's like it could be both. Like
it
you
literally
could
can be both.
it could literally be both if that's what you wanted to be. Like
Yeah, but I think it's also just a matter of like there's a ceiling on the word or the term rapper in terms of like the level of
I understand that
that
too.
you
Yeah,
can become, and that's I think that the only reason that is the people that feel that way are trying to become, they have
they're trying to use rap as a stepping stone, which is fine as long as you pay respect to the stepping stone.
absolutely, and it's like I'm not against niggas getting their bag, do what you got to do, but when you start to sacrifice the cultural significance of what it means to be a rapper, like that means something. Like anyone, like at this point, access to the internet, anyone can be a rapper, but like it means something to be good at rapping, in my opinion. Like culturally, that's been something that's like always been significant as long as rapping has been a thing. So I think it's beautiful that you're taking pride in that, and the raps speak for themselves. Like you're obviously very good at this thing, and you definitely mastered the craft, in that respect, in my opinion.
Almost, almost. I'm getting there.
Work is never finished, but you're
I'm a firm believer that my best work is gonna be when I'm like 50, when I'm like an old, not an old man. Like I get 50, not old, but like when I'm grown, like that's when my best album's gonna come.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. Um, the last couple things, and then I'll let you go. But what are your goals personally? With your music, if any. I know you just talked a little bit about how you are comfortable and content with being a rapper. In that sphere, what are your own personal goals, if any?
Mm, I just want to get better. I want to keep making music. It's fun to me. So I'm gonna keep doing it until it's not fun anymore. I want to inspire the next generation of musicians. I wanna I want to build something for Charlotte, because Charlotte, we got like a million good rappers now, but we don't have anyone that's really shedding a light on it. So I think maybe we're that generation that like people will come after us, and then maybe they'll get a little bit more shine. But I remember when I was a kid, I just wanted Charlotte to have somebody, and now we got like Kill Switch, like Mavi and Messiah and Sko and Amir and all them. We got Lamaj, we got Capone who's on the album, E is the GOAT who's on the album. We got Marze. Like there's a lot of people, Jamonte. Like there's a bunch of people in Charlotte that inspire me. So part of me making music is just to take that inspiration and give it back if I can.
My last question is just what's been moving you artistically these days, whether it be music, movies, TV, fashion, books. What's been on your radar? What's been moving
Shoot, the homies, my homie Scene, he DJs, my homie Maux DJs, there's a lot of other DJs in Greensboro and Charlotte that really inspire me. I've been going to a lot of their mixes, just listening to new sounds, just constantly getting put on to stuff that I never would have heard otherwise. Like I know some visual artists, like some painters, sculptors, whatnot, but like they inspire me, and I'd like to think I inspire them. Like I said, like we time travel through a message, like we just going back and forth, like communicating as artists, like what about this, what about that. So that's really what's been inspiring me now. But like as far as music goes, I think babyxsosa is making like the best music like ever. Maybe like every time she drops, there's a lot of people that they'll drop and I'll be like, damn, like I wish I made this. But every time babyxsosa drops, I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's damn near jealousy. Like how do you do this?
So when I first started listening to Sosa, I was this was my first semester of college, fall of 2021, and I don't remember. I want to say it was probably Drama Baby, and I was just like, yo, how, like, what is this in the best way possible? Like
she's crazy.
She's ridiculous, and then it was just. I just tumbled down the rabbit hole, and now Freako is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life.
Ever. Like it's so many different sounds too. Like in March she dropped a song called My Side. Like it's like some, I hate to do the comparison thing, but it sounds like some, like, how you say, Bon Iver or whatever that works with Kanye, like Bon Iver or whatever. Like it's just some other shit. Like I don't even know, but like she's inspiring me the most right now. But I try to listen to a lot of everything.
Dope. Shout out babyxsosa, and I couldn't think of a better way to end the interview.
Shout out babyxsosa.
I appreciate you coming on, talking the album with me. It really is, one of my favorite bodies of work this year, and sooner or later these publications are gonna have to acknowledge me, whether it's needed or not. They're gonna have to.
As long as the people keep acknowledging me, that's all cool. Like the internet support is one thing, but like I don't know, like if I can be in Charlotte and Greensboro and more people keep coming up to me like, are you Money for Water? Like, and then we actually get to have a conversation about music or life or whatever. Like that's so cool to me. Like that's starting to pick up now in a way that I didn't really expect. And I love that the most. Like people will be like, I was listening to your song on a drive, and like I damn near started crying, like almost had to pull over, and I'll just be like, wow, like, because that's how I feel about my music, and that's how I feel about other people's music. So it's just cool to be like, I'm glad I can have that level of importance.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm looking forward to all of your music, going forward. I'm looking forward to, hopefully getting some more music with you going forward.
For sure.
And yeah, I'm just really appreciative that you sat down with me for this conversation.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, this has been another edition, Anti Interviews. Again, we still don't have a name. I'm trying to figure this shit out. I'm trying, but we'll be.
What's wrong with anti-interviews?
I mean,
That's what it is. Like,
it's been rocking. Like, I think it's like number 5, number 6. So
you getting too deep into it, at a certain point, it's like you can't give it another name. Like,
that's fair. That's fair. Shit, maybe it's anti. Maybe that's just what it is. Regardless, though, we'll catch you with another one pretty soon. Appreciate y'all.